We messed up the handshake, but that's all right. We are fired up. It's Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. Friday night, the nighttime is the right time. She's doing the 6-7. We are ready tonight for UConn St. John's unbelievable ball game, the game we've been waiting for, the Big East at Madison Square Garden, as we like to call it, Store South. That's right, the Huskies own Madison Square Garden. We're going to get to that game momentarily. If you're on the channel for the first time, welcome in. We do this every Friday night. It's called Weekend Update. We get you ready for the weekend of basketball action with a nice biting of the lip this weekend. Oh, my God, it hurts like a son of a gun. Trust me, it hurts as much as it looks awful. But welcome in. Had a special show last night with my boy Ken Rock and with Double J, Jay Joseph, and we covered everything Super Bowl, the Super Bowl bonanza, we called it. So if you want all the Super Bowl picks and stuff, like and subscribe to Pop Sports Network. Hop on our live shows. You'll see it on replay. Go over all. I mean, we literally covered every prop. We were on for about an hour and 20 minutes last night, and that was all Super Bowl. That was literally just a Super Bowl. We got the color Gatorade that they're going to dump on the coach's head. We got prop bets, how many punts, how many sacks are going to be in the game, all kinds of stuff. We're fired up. We're back in the garage. Still chilly out here in Florida, but it warmed up a little bit. Hopefully, big shout out to the Godfather and them. Visited my boys on Tuesday and Wednesday. Got to play some golf with the boys from Connecticut who were down. And I know they're going to be partying hard at the house that they got rented. Tonight's their last night. They've been playing golf every day. I was able to join Tuesday, Wednesday. They're in Orlando. If you hear yelling and screaming somewhere in that Champions Gate area, it's Godfather and the boys. The Godfather and his crew are fired up on Friday night. And that garden is going to be rocking for UConn St. John's. And I'll tell you what, I love the UConn Huskies tonight, okay? UConn Huskies favored by 1.5. You guys know, if you've been following the channel at all, I've been betting a decent amount of UConn games and giving out picks on the UConn games. But here's the twist. I've been going against UConn almost every time. I don't know if I've taken UConn. I think I might have taken UConn once, maybe twice all year. I don't even know if I have, I'm being honest. And I did start tracking. I promised you guys I would start tracking my plays. It's tough because I give these shorts and I got a full-time job. This is what we do for fun. I take it seriously, but we do it for fun. But I did start tracking. Probably picked a bad time to start tracking. Last week, I went 3-3 on the show with the plays I gave you in college basketball. But I gave out 2 short video, or I gave out, 3, 6, 7 games this week and went 2-5. So not great. So I'm 5-10 on NCAA hoops. So me personally, hey, you want to fade me? Go ahead, fade me. You want to crown him? Crown him. You want to fade me? Fade me. But I think this is the time to hop on board because I've had a good season. Just hit a little cold spell, had some things not go our way, a couple close losses. We're going to get to all the college basketball. But back to UConn St. John's, it is going to be so fired up. I heard stories of tickets going for $500, the cheapest seat in Madison Square Garden. This thing is sold out. Everybody's been looking forward to this game, okay? Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Friday night. Enjoy. We're going to have a good time. Super Bowl weekend. We got the Waste Management Phoenix Open. We'll get to that shortly. Scotty Scheffler is going up to the 16th hole right now. I wish I could go watch it. I'm sure they're getting rowdy and riled up. We need Jordan Spieth to make the cut. I got a DraftKings lineup. I got 5 guys really good, like 500 or better, up near all in the top 20. Spieth is right on that cut line. Come on, cheer me up if anybody's watching that. Let me know. If anybody sees Spieth, I think he's going to 16-2 right now. He's playing 15 right now, which is a par 5 that's gettable. I've played there before. Gettable hole. I bogeyed 16. Anyhow, sorry. We need Spieth to make the cut, and I'll have all 6 guys making the cut, and we are going to be in good shape. It's going to be an unbelievable Super Bowl weekend. All right, but anyhow, the reason this game is so fired up, it's always fired up UConn St. John's. But the Big East is down a little bit this year, okay? Be the first to admit. So everybody knows that by far and away, certainly Villanova a little better this year. I got to give Villanova props. They're kind of carrying the torches, that third team in the Big East. Right now, they only have 3 teams projected to make the tourney from the Big East, which really stinks because you really want the conference to do good. But everybody knows these are the 2 teams in the Big East. And so everybody's had this game circled, and this is going to be the matchup that decides the Big East. Okay? UConn, St. John's, Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's going to be half full with UConn fans like it always is. We travel, and we travel well to New York City. It is going to be so freaking awesome. So we're going to make sure that we get you out of here. And we got a return bout with St. John's in Hartford on February 25th. So coming in soon. So this is going to be an awesome game. But this is the kind of spot where I am now on the Huskies. And I went a little crazy. Do what you can within your means. But I went crazy UConn money line. Absolutely love UConn money line tonight. The money line for UConn, you can see there, St. John's is plus 105. I got UConn minus 120. I think this is a UConn spot. We have the bigs that can hang in there with the big guy from St. John's. I don't think they're as good a shooting team as they had last year. They're a little cold streaky from the outside. I think this is a game Hurley has had circled. UConn's had circled. They're ready, and I think we outclass them. I just think we outclass them. We have more depth. We have the shooting. We have bodies that can go in there. Our defense is much better than St. John's. Certainly St. John's put up points, but they kind of bully some teams. And they've also struggled against some teams. And they have a handful of bad losses on their resume, whereas the UConn Huskies do not have a bad loss. I mean, our only loss was without two players, and that was against the number one team in the country, Arizona. So there's not a bad loss on UConn's resume. When you look at St. John's, you look at losing to Providence. Hey, Providence gave us fits, so I can't really, get on them too much about that game. So no, I guess in hindsight, not really bad losses either for St. John's, because they got 5 losses, and their other 4 are all against top caliber teams that are going to the tourney. Obviously, they had the meltdown against Kentucky. They were playing pretty well in that game, and then Kentucky came storming back. But I like the Huskies. I think Terrace Reed inside. I think Caravan, the experience, the smart point guards. Silas Demery's been playing way better. Braylon Mullins as an X factor stretches the court. Attack. You heard Hurley say that again. And I've been against UConn a lot in the spreads. But guess what? UConn is starting to round into form at the right time. They're starting to get to and I still don't think we've seen their peak, but they're starting to round into that peak, and they're starting to get there. Patino has had our number lately. Thank you, Tunersville. We got a guy joining us in the chat. Tunersville, Patino has had our number. Yeah, that's fine. This is definitely their Super Bowl, but I think it's our Super Bowl too. I really do. I think UConn, normally I would agree with you, but I also think it's going to be 50-50. I don't think this is like us going to Kansas or us going to Arizona or us going to Michigan State where it's going to be 90-10. We travel to the Garden. I just think we're that much better. I think you put us on a neutral floor, and I think we're a 6-point better team. So I don't think the home court is worth the 4.5 here. I really don't, because I think we're going to travel just as well. But you're right. Patino's a great coach. He's going to be ready. They got some players. We're going to have to contain Hopkins. But I think we got the bodies to continue to throw at the big fella, a little more depth. And I don't like St. John's shooting. I think if we can make it where they got to shoot tough jump shots, I think we've got them covered. So that's my take on UConn St. John's. Okay, so UConn is going in the ledger as a money line. Minus 120 is not big. Now, I wouldn't take like a money line minus 180 and then count that toward my correct wins, right? Because then you're gonna pad your numbers. You're gonna look good, right? I could take a bunch of 6-point favorites. If I take 10 6-point favorites, 7 of them are gonna win money line. I'm gonna look good with a 7-3 record. But did you really win anything when you're laying 200, 220, 180? No, you didn't. So 120, I could take it. So we're taking UConn money line. And I'll just give you a quick Super Bowl, very quick Super Bowl before we get into the rest of the college basketball for the weekend, all the top 25 games we're going to cover for you. I got the Pats, and it's 5 down here at Hard Rock. I know, if you watched the show last night, if you watch it on replay, some of you guys up in the north are getting way better numbers on some of the props on FanDuel or DraftKings. But with Hard Rock, I've got 5, and I love the Pats. I think Seahawks should be favored by 3. That's fair. That's justified. But I love the Pats. I think they're going to play tough. I think Vrabel's an X factor, as Jay brought forth, as Ken brought forth. 250th anniversary for the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to play well. I think Seattle is a little overrated. That defense, I mean, look what the Rams did to them. And if you look at their schedule, a lot of these games where that defense put up great stats, everybody talks about the Pats' strength of schedule. Seattle beat up on bad quarterbacks. They really did beat up on bad quarterbacks. You saw what Matthew Stafford was able to do to them. They can be scored upon, okay? And everybody's down on the Pats. But look at the weather they played in. Awful game against Houston. I mean, nobody could do anything. And that's a great defense. and then an awful game against Denver in a blizzard in the second half. Okay. Now, Drake May has not looked great, but I think the slander has gone too far. I think that it's been overblown. The Chargers had a good defense. That was just an ugly game where the Pats knew they didn't have to do much because the Chargers couldn't do anything offensively. So I think the slander has gone too far. I wouldn't mind if you sprinkled money line Patriots. Okay. Plus 190 or 180, whatever it is. I'll have to keep an eye on it. That's my take on the game. I like the Pats. I think their defense is good. I think McDaniels, you give him 2 weeks to come up with a scheme against the Seahawks defense. I think that's a big deal. That safety, tweaking an ankle, and they showed him. I saw it on Twitter today, him limping into the hotel. That's a big deal there. I think Spillane plays. He's the middle linebacker for the Pats. That's a huge deal as well. And my man, Travion Henderson, is going to be the X factor. You heard it. I don't care. He's going to be the X factor. They're going to find a way to get that guy the ball in space. We gave you the stat last night that the Seahawks, this great defense, allowed the most receptions to running backs in the entire NFL. Okay? That's crazy. That's crazy. And you don't think the Patriots know that? You don't think the Patriots also have it up on the bulletin board that Tom Brady said, I don't have a dog in the fight? I think Brady, in a weird way, might have said that as motivation. He knows that was going to ruffle feathers. Of course, he's got to play a little bit of Switzerland now that he's an announcer, now that he's a part owner of a team. But there's a little motive behind that. And Vrabel's going to circle that, and they're going to be fired up. Now, underdogs are now 5-0 against the spread the last 5 years, okay? So they're 5-0. UConn looking for their 19 straight victories. You can see on the bottom ticker. Look at these upgrades at Pop Sports. Drizzy Dren is on his game. My producer who puts these lines up for me, does the little bottom ticker. Drizzy Dren is on his game, man. This is great. We're leading you right up. We're going to try to end right at 8 o'clock because I don't want to miss a second of this action. I got my parents coming in. They're down here. They come to Florida January, February now, living that retired life. They got the snowbird life. They're going to be over watching the game. My kids are fired up to watch the game. My wife's going to be watching the game. She's going to have fun. Funny story. My wife's father went to St. John's. So my father-in-law went to St. John's. He's a St. John's graduate. So we have a lot of fun, a lot of trash talk at the family stuff. So this is a big one. This is a huge, huge game. UConn against St. John's. All right. So Waste Management Phoenix Open. I told you last week how much I like this kid, Thor Bjornsson. He finished in the top 30, like I told you. Now, I promise I'm going to start getting out some shorts throughout the week of my golf plays because my golf plays have been on fire. If you don't know, I'm a golf pro, PGA professional, so I got a little insight there. Doesn't obviously, I'm not inside the ropes with these guys, but I can kind of see when I'm in tune, when a guy's playing well, when a guy's made a club change, when a guy's made a caddy change, how they're trending, blah, blah, blah. And I've done very well taking guys, plus 180, plus 140, to finish top 30, to finish top 20, stuff like that. Like I said, I've got a DraftKings lineup that is killing it right now. If I get Spieth to make the cut, I'm going to have all 6 guys making the cut. Spieth will be down at the bottom, right? Because he's kind of on the number. But all my other guys are doing really well. So Spieth is even. And I think the cut is right on even. I've got Matsuyama, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth. My guy, Thor Bjornsson, who I told you about, who's the next superstar. He's in 19th place, and I took him again, top 30. He was plus 140. I got 100 to win 240, or to win 140, pays out 240. I love this kid. I've got Michael Kim, Daniel Berger. I need Spieth, and I think he's on 16. So if anybody in the chat sees what Spieth does, if you're watching Waste Management and listening to me at the same time, let me know what Spieth does on number 16. 17 is a birdie hole. 17 is a drivable par 4. And then 18, a good drive, and you got a wedge there. I think I birdied 18 when I birdied. It was weird. I had bookend birdies. I birdied. Obviously, I didn't play the pro tee. I birdied 18, and I birdied 9 when I played it. I'll be honest. The course itself was okay. It was okay. I don't want to slander it, whatever. It was car path only. I was there 2 months before the tournament. Car path only. Overseeded like crazy watering. You got absolutely zero roll. Course was gorgeous. Greens were slow, so that was kind of disappointing. But I birdied 18-9. I think those are my only 2 birdies. And there were some birdie par 5s. I didn't play great that day. I played pretty good that whole week, but I didn't play great when we played TPC Scottsdale. All right, I'm looking real quick. The cut is 1 under, and Spieth is at even. So we need a birdie. Oh, no, he bogeyed 16. We're in trouble. Gosh darn it. Now he could. Yeah, I'm going to need somebody that's at that 1 under. We're going to need 2 guys at 1 under to bogey coming in. And Spieth's got a birdie to get the even. I need back-to-back birdies for him to make the cut. So that's going to be a bummer. I'm only going to get 5 out of 6. And that's what you need in DraftKings. If you're doing those DraftKings golf, you got to have all 6 of your guys make the cut if you really want a chance. I've had some good luck on those DraftKings one, but that one is not going to hit, it looks like, unless Spieth gets out. Son of a gun. Spieth he plays really well there. I looked at the stats the last 10 years. He's got like 7 top 20s. I just figured a horse for the course. I know he hasn't been playing well, but I wasn't expecting him to win. I was expecting him to make the cut and come top 20, come top 30, whatever. Didn't happen. Oh, well. Cheers again. If you're in the chat, let us know what you're sipping on as you pregame for UConn St. John's. Man, we are fired up for this game. All right. Now, we're going into the semi-blind, right? Crazy week at work. Haven't had a chance to fully research. We're going to kind of do it as we go. So we're going to kick right off and go into Saturday college basketball. Ton of games on Saturday. We're starting with Nebraska at Rutgers. Rutgers getting 12.5. You talk about places to go play, tough places. I've been to the rack on Rutgers campus. It is crazy. It is a loud, tiny, old school gym. They get very fired up. Nebraska now 20-2. Losers of 2 in a row. Wish that wasn't the case. That might make this line a little more juicy for me. And obviously losing to great teams. You lose to at Michigan and home to Illinois, the number 3 team in the country, the number 9 team in the country. Now they do have Purdue as a possible look ahead. Nebraska's still playing great ball. Rutgers, this is not Steve Peichel's best team, 9-14. Coming home after getting blown out by 32 to UCLA, but then they played USC tough. They took Michigan State to overtime, and quite honestly, Michigan State needed some miracles to get there. I'm not going to give you an official play on this game. If I were, it would be Rutgers in the 12.5, just a 12, a home dog is something that I always tend to like. But I can't justify because Rutgers is so up and down, so up and down. So no play there. Should be a good one, though. Potential for an upset. You got to look ahead for Nebraska. You got to go to the rack. Tough place to play. Noon game. They're going to be fired up there in New Jersey. All right, next game. We got Syracuse. OE. I just got a text from a good friend, OE, who is watching us live. OE, get in the chat, man. What do you think? You're Cuse. Is it time to fire that coach? I say yes. I actually got fired up for Syracuse against North Carolina. I thought they could keep it close, and just another egg lead. And, here's the thing, and this is where I talk about the coaching, okay? I see talent on that court, okay? When I see Syracuse, I see individual talent. I watched a good portion of that game, the majority of the second half. There's no plays. How do you not? That's one thing that's amazing about UConn. You watch us, and there's and everybody talks about it. Every basketball expert just talks about the genius of Danny Hurley's offense and how he has like an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, which is brilliant in college basketball. Smart. Why not? Head coach, you're supposed to be the overseer, right? And then you've got your coordinators, right, that are there to facilitate I see no offense on Syracuse. It's a bunch of one-on-one. It's 4 guys standing around and a guy trying to go one-on-one and a guy trying to shoot. And you got number 18, Virginia, hosting them, following Freeman, a guy who's 23 points, talent, going at Virginia. This is not your old school Virginia team. But can they cover a big spread? Okay. We have, let me see. I've got it up here on my Hard Rock. Excuse me. Still chilly out here in the fantasy garage. It is chilly. Let me go to top 25 for tomorrow. 13.5. I think these spreads are getting out of control. I want to take Syracuse, but this damn coach, who could they go get? Here's the thing, right? UConn has that lineage. Syracuse has that lineage. Obviously, just Syracuse since Boeheim. He kind of left the cupboard a little bare, but man, they can't find a former player or somebody that can come in and coach that team. Basketball is life up there, every bit as much as it is in Storrs, Connecticut. There's not a lot going on in Syracuse, New York, no offense, in the wintertime. except for college basketball. So I just don't know who's going to come in and be that savior. I know for a long time, Mike Hopkins was supposed to be the guy. He was supposed to be the predecessor coming in after, or the successor for Boeheim. Go get him. Go find him. Go find a coach, Syracuse. You've got talent. I'm taking the Cuse, though. I am taking the Cuse. There you go. We got a guy in the chat, our boy Brian Exner, a.k.a. O-Easy. I wonder how that golf went today, O-Easy. I saw you made a net birdie on hole 1 and got a skin, baby. Got a skin on 1. I was following you guys, man. I was following you guys on Golf Genius. OE says we need Jerry Mack. Oh, there's a good one. G-Mac as the coach. Is he an assistant right now? If he's an assistant, let me know in the chat, or if he's not with him. I think at one point I remember seeing him on the sidelines. I remember seeing Jerry McNamara at one point. I don't know if it was under this coach or the previous coach on the sidelines. Why not get G-Mac? That'd be great. He was a great Syracuse player. Obviously, we remember him and Devendorf, 3-point, when we had that crazy ball game. This was a 7 overtime game. I remember watching that game at the Yale House in Orlando, and I had my grandmother, rest in peace, my grandmother, Carolyn Haddad, who was the biggest UConn fan. Reason I'm a fan, my grandma and grandpa were season ticket holders. I went to every game when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old in the old field house when UConn used to get blown out. We were nobody. So OE says GMAC is the Siena head coach. I love it. Go get Jerry McNamara. Go get a legacy. I don't know how Siena's doing. If somebody has that, let me know. But go get a guy like that. Come on. There's talent on that team. And they got Carmelo Anthony's kid. I think he's a pretty decent player, but they're just standing around doing nothing, and that's not going to win. You can't do that. It just can't be one-on-one basketball. It's just not the way it works. Anyhow, so we're taking Syracuse, though. That's a big spread. And who's Virginia got on tap? Let me see if Virginia's got any kind of look-ahead spot. Maybe just not taking Syracuse seriously. They got Florida State, so not a huge look-ahead. They just beat Pitt by 20. Syracuse is much better than Pitt. They beat Boston College by 7. Notre Dame by 3. Like, Virginia's good, but they don't win by many margins. I mean, I got them beating Stanford by 15. Okay, they beat Cal pretty good. I'm taking the Cuse. Give me the Cuse. It's going on my ledger. Cuse plus 13.5. Maybe that talent prevails, keeps it close. Maybe the zone stifles Virginia a little bit. Even the zone isn't very good anymore. But anyhow, that's my 2 cents on that ball game. Next game, Drizzy Drin. What do we got? Another noon tip-off. Arkansas at Mississippi State. Arkansas, a dark horse team. A lot of talent there for Coach Cal. He always underachieves, though, with his talent. Just got beat by Kentucky, 8 points. That was the game we won with. We had Kentucky in that game. Kentucky was laying 5. No, Kentucky was an underdog. We had Kentucky getting 5. They're kind of struggling, though. Beat Vanderbilt big time, beat LSU only by 4, beat Oklahoma only by 4, lost to Kentucky. Now they get Mississippi State. Mississippi State, if I'm not mistaken, is not a great team, but they just had a very good game. Yeah, at LSU, they were a 4-point dog and blew them out. Won by 14 at LSU. Now they come home for Arkansas. Home dogs, baby. You know me and my home dogs, ladies and gentlemen. Mississippi State playing a little better ball. Arkansas not playing as good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Mississippi State. They played everybody tough at home. They beat Memphis at home. They took SMU, a much better team. Well, I shouldn't say much better team than Arkansas. They're right on par with Arkansas. They took them to overtime. Lost only by 2 to New Mexico at home. They've beaten teams at home. Alabama beat them by 15. Alabama's really good. I like Mississippi State. I really do. I just think Arkansas is starting to struggle a little bit. They haven't played in a week. A little bit of rustiness. I'm putting it on my ledger. We're getting aggressive here with these home dogs. Mississippi State. Let me make sure I give you the perfect line. I think it might even be 6.5 now. No, Jersey Dren's right. It's 5.5, but it's even money. So we like that. Mississippi State, give us the Bulldogs. I believe the Godfather knows somebody from Mississippi State a long time ago, Orlando. Anywho, next ball game, Jersey Dren. What do we got? Another 12 o'clock game. A lot of 12 o'clock action. Hey, my Wake Forest Demon Deacons against Louisville. Louisville, maybe the most Jekyll and Hyde team that I've seen. Louisville comes into the game 16-6, 6-4 in the ACC. Wake Forest 11-11, 2-7, still hanging their hats. on that victory or near victory against Michigan. Can't get it out of my head. And Wake Forest just continues to kill me. They have got to be the worst team against the spread because I have lost every game I've taken them. I literally have lost every game. I got to go. I want to see if we can find out that number. The college basketball teams against the spread. I mean, there's no way they've covered the spread lately. I mean, if you look at it, home against NC State, okay? They were like getting 5 or something. This is one of my losses last week. Got blown out. Lost at Pitt as like a 1.5-point favorite. It's awful. Got beat by 21 against Duke. Got beat by 12 at home against SMU. Beat Florida State, who's terrible, by 1. At North Carolina, they lost by 3. Home against Miami, lost by 4. Home against Vatech, lost by 3. I just can't with this team. These are two absolute Jekyll and Hyde teams. If I lean anything, maybe it's the over because I think these teams are just undisciplined and just kind of wild cards that are just going to be running around like maniacs. I want to take the home dog, but it's just hurting me so bad with Wake. You know what? If I look at Louisville, 16-6, there's not really a trend. Certainly not as good on the road. I mean, on the road, just since December on the road, they are on the road in December, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 2-3, 3-3, 3-4 on the road. So they're certainly not as good on the road. I'm doing it. I think tomorrow is the day of the dogs. It's the day of the dogs. We're taking another home dog. I'm doing it again. You know, when you see these things, usually when you look at the end of the season, let's say a team has, I don't know, what do they end up playing? 30 games? Most teams, you know, right around that number. Most teams end up within a few games of 500 and, you know, against the spread. I think the spread is finally catching up. I think that finally, we get a game where the spread is catching up, where this should probably be like a 4.5, and we're getting 7.5 on Wake Forest. We're taking another home dog. You might as well fade me. I'll be the first to admit you should fade me on that one. So Wake Forest. Hey, we got 32 minutes. The UConn, St. John's, the UConn Huskies, and the St. John's Red Storm cannot wait. All right, next game, Jersey Drip. See what we got here. Oregon at Purdue. Purdue is laying 12. Purdue, another team, struggling a little bit, relatively. You know, they kind of peaked early, and they're starting to come down to earth, but this Oregon team is awful. Dana Altman's a great coach. He's a guy I love taking in the tournament to get to Sweet 16s, things of that nature, but he just doesn't have the horses. I know he's had a couple of injuries and stuff, but they are bad. They are really, really bad. Purdue had 3 straight losses against UCLA, Illinois, Indiana, and they come back and destroy another down team, Maryland. And now they get home against Oregon. My God, 19.5 is a lot of points, but Oregon is terrible. Oregon beat by 18 at home against Iowa, beat by 16 at home against UCLA, beat by 15 at Washington, beat by 16 Michigan State, beat by 10 Michigan, lost by 35 to Nebraska, lost by 10 to Ohio State, lost to Rutgers on the road, which that's a tough place to play. But their last win was January 2nd. So they haven't won in over a month. They just don't have the horses. I can't lay 19.5. This just goes against everything in my bones. Although I did have Houston minus 13.5 or 14.5 last week, one of my wins when I went 3-3 on the weekend update show. I can't do it. No play in this game. If I was doing anything, I might take under. I might take Purdue to just lock them down. Purdue's played pretty good defense. Oregon struggles to score. I mean, I'm looking at their last since that January 2nd. Even that game they won, they only scored 64. They have scored 80 one time, 85. They've been in the 50s almost every game. 57, 57, 52. So let's say we split the difference, say they score 60. That means we got to get 85 points for it to go over from Purdue. Could it happen? Certainly. Oregon's not good. But Purdue has not been scoring in the 80s that often. If anything, that would be my lean. My lean would be under. I'm not putting it on my ledger, non-official play. Let's get to the next game. Baylor at Iowa State. Iowa State minus 15.5. Another team with a good head coach that's really down. Baylor very down this year, 13-9. Big win against Colorado and West Virginia, winners of 2 in a row. Now they face Iowa State, getting 15.5. Have these two teams met yet this year? I do not believe they have. Yes, they have. And Iowa State beat Baylor in Baylor by 10 points. Is there a little bit of a revenge factor? Sure. Iowa State has been lighting it up. 95 points, blew out Kansas State by 34, beat Colorado by 30. Oklahoma State, they won by 13 at Oklahoma State, who just had a big upset over BYU. So not a easy place to play against Oklahoma State and Stillwater. Beat USF. I mean, Iowa State's pretty legit. Beat USF by 30 at home. And USF's much better than Baylor. I'm not touching this one. In fact, if anything, I might take Iowa State. I'm going to stay away. Baylor, again, it's just a good coach who's having a tough season. 13-9. Trying to see if they've got any good wins. I mean, Texas Tech beat them by 19. On the road against Kansas, lost by 18. I think it's a bad spot for Baylor. I think it's a bad spot. Iowa State, let's just see if they have any kind of look ahead. They go to TCU on Tuesday. I lean Iowa State. I'm not going to lay that huge number, but I lean, if you're going to take anything, take Iowa State. And I do like the over a little bit because Iowa State has been scoring. Like I said, Iowa State's been scoring in the 90s. And let's see Baylor's defense. I mean, they allowed 86 to Colorado. They play okay defense. I'm not touching it. If I leaned anything, it'd be Iowa State. Big 12 is really good this year. All right. We'll see how they do in the tournament. Next game. Utah at Kansas. Kansas starting to round into form. They were one of my wins last weekend. They're starting to round into form, getting better. I had them against BYU last week. They're starting to play better. I told you Kansas. They're starting to play better ball. They're coming together. That kid they have, that's a projected top 2 pick, has been fantastic. They do have Texas Tech. I'm sorry. They did beat Texas Tech on the road. They do have Arizona coming up on Monday. So this is your classic look ahead spot. Now, Utah stinks. They're last place in the Big 12. But this is your classic look ahead spot. Okay. Last game's on the road. They gave BYU a tough game. They lost to BYU by 13. Lost to Kansas State by 3. Beat TCU, not bad. Lost to Texas Tech, who I think on a neutral floor is I think dead even with Kansas. I really do. So they lost to them by 14 on the road. Lost to BYU at home only by 5. Lost to Arizona by 19. So would have covered a spread of 19. And Arizona's certainly better than Kansas. Lost to Washington by only 9. So they really haven't got their doors blown in. I'm trying to see if they've had an absolute blowout loss. I really am not seeing one. Their worst loss was Arizona by 19. They're a team that hangs 12, 13. And you add in the look ahead factor. I love it. I'm taking Utah. Plus 19.5. It's going on my official ledger. Plus 19.5. Utah Utes. The running Utes. I like it. Kansas has got to be looking ahead a little bit. They've played a tough stretch of games. Now you get Utah. Okay. These guys stink. Okay. I could see them being up 15 at the half and then just kind of putting in cruise control. They just got done playing BYU and Texas Tech, and now they got Arizona and Iowa State coming up next week. Give me the Utes. I love it. The Utes. All right. Next game. We got LaSalle at St. Louis. Sneaky St. Louis team. This is a very good St. Louis team. The Billikens. Remember, Rick Majerus always had the Billikens in there. They're really good. They're a really sneaky team. First in the Atlantic 10, 22-1, only 1 loss. Their only loss came, my goodness, against Stanford by 1 point in November. So this is a team that's gone 2.5 months without losing a ball game. Now, the A-10's down. There's no doubt about it, but they've got some good wins on their ledger, some good road wins. At Davidson's always a good win. At Duquesne's not bad. Have these two teams played? They have. At LaSalle, St. Louis won by 12. It's just a lot of points, 23.5 points. I think these things are getting crazy. And I look at LaSalle, who is 10th in the A10, not a good team. But again, how are they losing? Certainly these teams that they're losing to are not as good as St. Louis, but losing by 10 to Loyola Chicago, losing by 9, losing by 6, couple of wins. Nice win against Dayton. Lost to St. Louis by only 12 at home. So you're telling me home court for St. Louis is worth 11.5 points? I don't think so. That seems high to me. They lost at Richmond. They did get blown out there. But other than that, not a lot of blowouts. Obviously, Michigan blew them out. Michigan is very good. Played Villanova tough in a neutral floor game. Played Villanova tough, lost by 15. If anything, I'd take LaSalle. There's no way I'm laying 19. If you look at St. Louis, certainly winning games, but are they winning by margin? Yes, at Dayton they did. Only beat George Washington by 3. That was a game I was on George Washington. I think they were getting 9.5, if I remember correctly. Beat Davidson by 9. Beat Duquesne by 4. Blew out the Bonnies. Blew out Richmond. They've got some blowouts on their schedule. I'm not touching this game. They got Loyola Chicago next Friday, so no look-ahead spot, nothing crazy. I can't touch it. There's just not enough value one way or the other. We'd honestly just be flipping a coin, in my opinion. All right, next ball game as we cruise through Saturday. Oklahoma at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt minus 13.5. Vanderbilt, streaky team. Very streaky team. I've bet against them quite a bit this year, but they're playing good ball, 19-3. Can't argue that. In the SEC tough conference, beat Ole Miss by 3, beat Kentucky by 15, beat Mississippi State by a bunch. Have they played Oklahoma yet? They have not. I mean, this is a tough team, this Vanderbilt team. They're playing really good. They're scoring 88 points a game, only allowing 72 points a game. So if we think Oklahoma is an average team, Vanderbilt should cover this spread. Oklahoma, 11-12. They're actually last in the SEC. Losing to Kentucky on the road by 16. Losing to Texas home by 10. Losing to Arkansas by 4. I mean, these guys haven't won a game. Oh, my Lord. They haven't won a game in a month. Over a month. They beat Ole Miss at home. Did they play yet against Vanderbilt? They did not. They only played Vanderbilt once this year. That's the thing. You get a league this big, 16 teams in the league. You can't play each other twice. I mean, that's 30 games right there. So that's kind of a bummer. I actually like laying the points. You don't hear me say that very often. I'm laying the points. Let me just make sure Vanderbilt doesn't have a game on Monday they might be looking ahead to. They've got at Auburn on Tuesday. They've had a week off to rest and relax. I like Vanderbilt. I'm laying a favorite. I'm putting it down. Vandy. I'm going to lay the 13.5 with Vanderbilt. Yeah, I'm laying it. All right, next game. Oklahoma State at Arizona, 21.5 spread for Arizona. Oklahoma State off the huge upset of BYU. Been playing people pretty tough. I don't believe they played Arizona yet this year. But on the road, they are not nearly the same team. Got beat by 12 against Iowa State. It's a good team. Lost by 3 to TCU. Beat Utah. Lost to Iowa State. I mean, they've had one game that they've really got blown out. They've got one game all year that they lost by more than the spread. Now, this is the number 1 team in the country, Arizona. Does Arizona have a look-ahead spot? They just beat Arizona State. They've been off for a week. They got Kansas on Monday. Arizona at Kansas Monday. Okay? Possible look-ahead spot. And Oklahoma comes in riding high. Oklahoma State comes riding high off the big win against BYU. I mean, what's Arizona been doing? Have they been blowing people out by margin at home? I mean, they blew out at Cincinnati, West Virginia. They've blown them out. Arizona State, they only won by 7. K-State, they won by 25. Yeah, it's San Diego State, they won by 23. I like Oklahoma State here, but I'm not gonna take it. That's a lot of points too. You know what? I'm looking at Arizona. They haven't had a game go over this 160. Is that right, Drizzy? 169.5? That is high. And Oklahoma State's playing better ball. I like that. And normally when a line is insanely high, you take the over anyway. If that line is correct, let me see. I just want to verify. I believe Drizzy, but I want to verify. 169 and a half? I mean, Oklahoma State doesn't play a ton of defense. I mean, their average game is 86-80. I like the under. I like the under. There's a play. I'm going under 169 and a half. Under 169 and a half. Look ahead spot possibly for Arizona. Just coming out cold, coming out a little rusty, not sharp early. I'm taking under 169 and a half. Arizona, Oklahoma State. All right, next game. All right. Oh, let me real quick before we get to Miami of Ohio, 23 upstart, Miami of Ohio at Marshall. We've only got about 19 minutes till UConn. I want to go. We got to check the leaderboard here. We got to take the leaderboard at the Waste Management. How's Spieth doing? Does my guy have any chance at the cut? Oh, my Lord. Come on, Jordan. He doubled 17. What is this guy doing? What are you doing, Jordan Spieth? What, he hit it in the water? No, he hit it in the fairway. He chipped it in the water. Oh, my goodness. He hits it just right of the green. Let me see what this is. I got the play-by-play. He hits it in the fairway, 35 yards from the green. He chips it into the water. I know that pin's tough, but come on, Jordan. Double bogey. He's not making the cut. My Lord. All right. That DraftKings lineup could still do well because I got so many guys up there, but I'm certainly not going to win the top prize when I don't have one of your guys. You need all 6 of your guys to make the cut in one of those things. So son of a gun, that stinks because the rest of my team is playing great. And I know Scotty was making a comeback after shooting a couple over yesterday. Yeah, he's 5 under today. He's on 18 right now. He hit his drive. He hit his second. He's got a 3-footer. So he's probably going to make that and shoot 6 under today. And that's going to get Scotty to 6 under. That's going to get him 4 under for the tournament, 11 back. That'll be interesting. Let's take a quick peek before we get to this game at what Scotty's odds might be to win this tournament. Because Scotty is like Tiger right now, where he is just like unreal. He could go out and shoot another 6 under tomorrow. And yeah, he's plus 800. She's plus 800 to win the tournament after a 6 under day. That's crazy that you're 8-1 and you're in tied 36th place. But that's Scotty Scheffler. But he makes that birdie, he's going to jump to 27th place. So he's got all weekend to make a comeback. So it's possible. I think Hideki Matsuyama and he's obviously the favorite, plus 225 right now. He's got a great track record at Scottsdale. So he's up there. Chris Gotterup's playing well. So anyhow, Jordan Spieth's not going to make the cut. Chipped it into the freaking water on 17. Unreal. All right, let's get back to the college basketball, what you all came here for. All right, where the heck were we? All right, there it is. All right, Miami of Ohio at Marshall. Wow, Miami of Ohio only 2.5-point favorites at Marshall. So that tells me this must be a pretty good Marshall team for the number 23 team in the country to only be favored by a few points. Let's take a look. Let's get see what this action is. You got Marshall coming in at 15-8, third in the Sun Belt. Winners of 2 in a row. Have they played yet this year? They have not played Miami of Ohio yet this year. Pretty good lately. They've got a few losses, but they've all been close. Lost 1 game by 8 at Georgia State. And they score in the mid-70s. So that's a 162.5 number. I know Miami, Ohio. I've heard they're 23-0, one of the last undefeated team. Them in Arizona, last undefeated teams. But have they been winning by margin on the road? Beat Buffalo by just 2. Beat UMass by just 2. Beat Buffalo in overtime. Beat Kent State in overtime. They've got 1 big win, and that's Northern Illinois recently. So certainly a team that has peaked. Now, they do seem to score quite a few points, but those games have been in overtime. The majority of their regular games are in the mid-80s. So if they're mid-80s, Marshall seems to be a little bit slower team. Doesn't seem to be a team that scores the ball as well. I'm looking at their stats. Yeah, they score 80 a game. This might be an over. This game could be a crazy one. This could be a high-scoring ball game at 4 o'clock. 162.5 is a big number, but Marshall scores 80 a game. Miami of Ohio scores 92 a game. Holy mackerel. I think this could be a really high-scoring game. And I think close game, you always have the fouls at the end of the game, where you think you got the under all day long, and then boom, there's a bunch of fouls at the end of the game. You get a bunch of free throws made, all that stuff. So give me the over. I'm taking an over. Over 162.5. Marshall, Miami of Ohio. Who would have thunk it? The Miami of Ohio Redhawks playing really good ball, ranked 23 in the country. Over 162.5 in that ball game. All right, next game, Drizzy Drin, as we have just 14 minutes from UConn St. John's. Let's go, baby. Give us your UConn St. John's predictions. So if you're in the chat, put it in there. What's your UConn St. John's predictions? All right, we got Gonzaga at Oregon State. Zags getting beat the other night. Big time upset, losing at Portland by 7 after being a 17.5-point favorite. Gonzaga visits Oregon State. Yeah, 22-point game for Lake. Gonzaga 22-2. Oregon State 16-6. I appreciate that Gonzaga is going to come in pissed off. Obviously very upset after coming off that bad loss as a 17-point favorite. But can they come back and do it again on the road? And now they're an 18.5-point favorite. And we have now Oregon State, who's won 3 games in a row, playing a little bit better ball. And they lost to Portland by 6. So that tells me, and that was at Portland, that tells me they're pretty much on par with Portland. And now I'm getting 18.5. Certainly we're going to get an upset Gonzaga team, but I don't know if they're that good to be blowing people out like this. I don't think this is your normal Gonzaga team. I just don't see it. I don't see the margins. Winning by 8 against St. Mary's, winning by 2 against San Fran, beating Pepperdine home, who stinks, but that's home by 24. Winning at Seattle, sure, winning at Washington State, but those are 2 teams that Oregon State has beaten. I don't like it. It stinks to me. I'm not touching it. If I had to do anything, I'd do Oregon State. Next game, I think it's the big one, right? This is the other big one. This is the big one tomorrow. Yeah, Duke and North Carolina. Huge game, obviously. Huge game in the ACC. I'm taking the under. I'm taking under 151.5. I know this game historically goes over, but this is a totally different North Carolina team. They played actual defense, okay? Duke only allows 63 points a game, okay? Carolina, I was looking at this the other day. They only allow 70 points a game, all right? Now, are their offenses pretty good? Okay, yeah, UNC scores 83, but I think they're going against a good defense. So let's knock them down to maybe 75, right? Because they're playing a good defense. Duke scores 84. I say we knock them down, okay? And then you knock in the fact of a tough gym. I think the Duke rims, the rims at Cameron Indoor, have always been friendly rims. I don't know if you watch the games there. It always seems, very soft rims where they're getting nice soft rolls and balls going in. I'm taking under 151.5 in this game. Immediately when I first saw it, I said this game's going to be in the 140s before Drizzy even put the lineup. So we're going under 151.5. I like how Carolina plays defense this year, not as fast. I don't think either team is necessarily as explosive. As far as the line goes, home dog in this series has done pretty well historically. I'm going to look it up here. Let's see. Duke against Carolina basketball home team's record. I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere where the home team's done very well in this. Let's see. Head-to-head between Duke. Let's see. Yeah, Carolina leads the series. Let's see. It's not really giving me the stats I want. I just think the home team, I would lean with the home dog. I would lean the home dog. I know that Duke is kind of blowing people out lately. Their closest game in the last month and a half was a 14-point win. They beat SMU by 7 a month ago, blew out Louisville. They've been just kind of dog walking people. But Carolina is obviously going to be up for this game, and I'm actually seeing it move to 152.5. So 151. I think this is one where you wait. So this brings up a great point, and we'll revisit this at some point. This is one where you wait. because just like waiting, if you for some reason like the under, which I can see a lot of people liking the under in the Super Bowl, okay? Wait. I can't tell you to wait enough. I saw it the other day, I was listening to a podcast. 90% of the money is going to come in on game day. Just like with this ball game, 90% of the money is going to come in 30 minutes before the game. Nobody the casual guy does not like to bet unders. Okay. So I would wait this out if we like the under. If you want to ride with me and take the under, I would ride it out. Spread is tough. I could see it going either way. I think that's a coin flip, but I do like the under. So that's my official play in Duke at North Carolina. Let's go next game, Drizzy. Wow. Man, we got some college hoops games. Illinois at Michigan State, two teams I really, really like. Man, it's going to be a battle. Holy mackerel. I love these two teams. You see that kid for Illinois, the freshman, score 40-some-odd points against Purdue. And Illinois' got a front line that is like an NBA front line, man. They are big. They are talented. College basketball is going to be really fun this year. Last year was a tough season. I didn't see any teams separate themselves from the pack. I only thought there were a hand. We got into the tournament, and I really circled about like 5 teams maybe that I thought could win it last year. And this year, I see a bunch. I mean, I would not be shocked if either one of these teams won it all. Not even close. I like Kansas. I like Texas Tech. I like Duke. I don't think Carolina necessarily has enough to win it all. UConn certainly can win it. Arizona can certainly win it. There's a lot of good teams that I would not be surprised if they went on a run. Iowa State's pretty solid, but they kind of always crap out in the tourney. Can they get over the hump? There's a lot of good teams. The Gators are really rounding into form. So this is a great one. Wow. Michigan State. What's the line here? It's basically an even line. Whew, that's a tough ball game. I mean, gun to my head, I might take the home team. I think Michigan State, after I don't see them losing 2 in a row at home, after losing to Michigan at home, I think that, and actually they lost at Minnesota Wednesday. I'm taking Michigan State. I'm taking Michigan State. Now that's 3 not so great ball games in a row because at Rutgers took them overtime. They lost to Michigan at home and they lost at Minnesota. Bad loss. Illinois comes in riding high. Illinois has been winning like crazy. I think H to the Izzo gets them fired up. They beat Northwestern by 40, won at Nebraska by 9. I talked about that win at Purdue where the kids scored 40-something. I mean, Illinois is really hot. They haven't lost since December 13th to Nebraska by 3. Illinois is a team, and they lost to UConn by 13. They've only got 3 losses, and it's Alabama, UConn, Nebraska. So all top-ranked teams. Illinois, you're placing futures wagers. Let's take a quick sneak peek at the future wager before we get this UConn game going. Do I have tournament winner? Illinois plus 1,200. So they're 12-1. Like I said, I think any of those teams, I could see Kansas, Florida, maybe not so much Iowa State, but they could. Illinois, UConn, Houston, Duke, Michigan, Arizona. I mean, there's a Texas Tech. I've talked about how much I like them. I think the Spartans could get it going. And that's not even counting like BYU or St. John's or Tennessee to get hot or Arkansas, who's very talented. College basketball is going to be wild. March Madness is going to be great this year. There's a lot of good teams this year. Anyhow, let's take Michigan State. I can't see him losing 3 in a row. I can't see him losing 3 in a row under Izzo. I think he finds a way to get him up for this game. And I think Illinois is due for a letdown spot. I'm taking Michigan State. It's a pick 'em. So we're taking a money line. Man, we got a lot of plays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Holy mackerel. All right, next game, Jersey Dre. We got to kick it into gear. We got 5 minutes, so UConn, St. John's. Clemson at California. Let's see if we got a line yet. Looks like there's no spread yet on this game. So we don't have a spread. That's unfortunate sometimes because we're trying to do this weekend update. Let me see if I got a spread on a different site real quick. Might not be an official spread, but at least get you an idea of what's going on. Obviously, Clemson's got to be favored. Cal is not a great team this year. I've got Clemson minus 3.5. That's tough going out to the West, after just playing. They did just play at Stanford and only beat Stanford by 2. Now they got to play this and then looking forward to headed home. Maybe they've got their bags packed already and they're looking forward to the flight and getting the heck out of Dodge and getting back to Clemson. 19-4, Clemson sneakily the second best team in the ACC. But who have they really beat? Beat Miami by 10. Okay, cool. Where's the other big wins? SMU by 4. I don't see the big wins. I don't know if they're a battle-tested team. Yeah. I don't know how much I buy Clemson. Cal, 17-6, kind of sneaky. At home, beat Georgia Tech by 5. Beat Carolina at home. Duke beat them by 15. They've been pretty good at home. I'm not touching this game, though, with a 10-foot pole. It's a low total, which tells me to take the points when you got a low total like that. Their last few games for Cal have gone over this number. 4 of their last 5 have gone over this number like pretty easily. Is Clemson that good defensively? Let's find out. Clemson as a team, pretty good defensively, allows 64 a game. But even still, if you just take their regular numbers, if you just take their vanilla blah numbers, they're at 140. Now, their last few games, they've had a 140, they've had a 115, and they had a 130 against Stanford. I think Cal's a little better than Stanford. I like the over here if I was taking anything, but no official play from Dustino. What else we got? I think we got just a couple of more games to zip through. Florida at Texas A&M. Florida is playing great ball. Florida has really turned it on again. Another team I could see winning it all. Blew out Alabama at home after really being close in the first half. Blew out South Carolina. Blew out Oklahoma and LSU. Lost to Auburn. Tough one. Beat Texas A&M. Beat Tennessee by 24. I like the Gators here. Texas A&M. They're coming off a big win, and they're good. They're sneaky good. Lost to Alabama by 3 on the road. This is a big game for them. This is a really big barometer game. And at home, they've been very good. I mean, at home, they've been beating people pretty handily. I got no play in this game. I think if I were taking anything, maybe under, that's a lot of points. I like the home dog. You know what? I'm taking Texas A&M. I like the home dog. I talked about it in the beginning of the show. I think there's going to be a lot of great dog. I think this is going to be one of those Saturdays or you get up Sunday morning and you look and you go, holy crap, a bunch of upsets. It's going to be a bunch of upsets. All right, let's see. What Jordan Spieth do on 18, that bum? He probably did nothing. He probably birdied 18 just to like make it a goof. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Spieth, that bum. No, he didn't birdie 18. Jeez Louise. Guy's terrible. Did Scotty make the birdie? Scotty Scheffler, he did. He birdied it 6 under 65. Scotty bounces back. 8-1. You want to have something fun to watch and root for as you're leading up to the Super Bowl? He shoots another 6 under. That gets him to what's he at? 6? No, he's at 4. That gets him to 10. If those guys only shoot a couple under, he'll have a chance on Sunday. 8-1's not terrible odds. All right, next game, Drizzy. Tennessee at Kentucky. Kentucky by 1.5. I like Kentucky here. I think they're good at home. They've played very well at home. Beating Texas, beating Ole Miss, beating Oklahoma, beating Tennessee earlier in the year by 2. Certainly some revenge on Tennessee's mind. But I think Kentucky's one of those teams that could make a Sweet 16 or Elite 8 run if they get hot at the right time. Tennessee's playing better ball at the right time as well. They got blown out at Florida, but then since then they won 5 out of 6, and they've been beating some good teams, beating Auburn at home, beating Georgia on the road, beating Alabama on the road. I'm going to stay clear of this game. The more I look at some of this stuff, I kind of like Tennessee. I think Tennessee's starting to come on strong, and I like that revenge factor. I really like the revenge factor. And Kentucky plays the Gators next week. Give me Tennessee. Give me Tennessee plus 1.5. I got a lot of ball games here, but there's a lot of great games. I'll tell you my favorites at the very end. And we got to get hustling. One more Drizzy Drin, I think, right? One last game. Houston at BYU. Great game here. Give me Houston. Give me Houston. I think Houston's going to outclass them. Houston is tough as nails. I think BYU's coming down to earth. I think they're a little softer team. I think this is just a great matchup. BYU's lost 3 in a row. Obviously, they've lost 4 of their last 5. I think they're starting to sputter, and Houston is a tough as nails team. This might be one of my favorite ones. Give us Houston minus 2.5, is it? Yeah, 2.5. Give us Houston. I like Houston minus 2.5. All right, folks, there you have it. We hustled, baby. We really hustled. Shout out to Drizzy Dren for putting that bottom ticker together. Really cool. When every game came up, he had some little stats about their last game, what the record was, which is very helpful, hopefully for you, the viewer. Obviously, I'm looking at my phone, trying to go over stuff. Hopefully, that's not too distracting for you. But we are fired up for the UConn Huskies, St. John's, UConn money line, minus 120. We love the Huskies. Real quick, just going to run down. We got a lot of games we took for tomorrow. We got the Cuse plus 13.5. Really like that one. I would say a moderate play, right? Mississippi State plus 5.5. Like it. Moderate. Wake plus 7.5. Like it. Maybe a little more than moderate. Utah is one we really like. Plus 19.5. We think it's a look-ahead spot. We got Vandy minus 13.5. We got under 169.5 in Arizona, Oklahoma State. Really like that one. Over 162.5 in the Marshall, Miami, Ohio game. We've got Michigan State as a pick'em over Illinois. I don't think H to the Izzo lets them lose 3 in a row. We've got Texas A&M. They were, what were they? Plus, son of a gun, I didn't write what they were plus. They were plus 6.5 or 7. 6, 7. They were like something like that against Florida. I'll write it down. You don't need to know. We're about to go watch the game. We got Tennessee plus 1.5 revenge spot against Kentucky. And then we like Houston might be my favorite one, that last one. They're just a tough team. And I think if BYU is a little more finesse team, give me the tough defensive-minded team every single time. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the UConn St. John's game. Go Huskies. Go on Instagram. Like Pop Sports Network. Like us on Twitter. Like us wherever. Like and subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends. Remember, if you didn't get to see the Super Bowl Bonanza show, it's on the channel. So go to Pop Sports. Look at it. We brought, oh my God, we gave you so many props. Now I'm going to give you some short videos too with our props tomorrow, and I'll give you some more on Sunday for the big game. Have some fun. Have a great weekend. What an awesome sports weekend. Waste Management, Phoenix Open, all these college hoops games, starting with one that's going on right now, about to start. And then we got the big game on Sunday. Let us know in the chat who you got. You got the Pats plus 5. You got the Seahawks minus 5 or 4.5, whatever is fluctuating. You like the over, you like the under. Peace out, everybody. Dustino's out of here. I'm going to watch UConn and the St. John's Red Storm. Go Huskies.